Hi, I'm Dr. Dean. I'm an eye surgeon working in Mbombela, Nelspruit, South Africa, and this is just a quick short video discussing the Amsler grid. So if you have been diagnosed with AMD or other macular conditions, you may have heard of an Amsler grid. And essentially an Amsler grid, they come in lots of in various forms, but essentially it's just a grid, and often it can be a piece of paper like this. It can be a fridge magnet. Essentially it's a set of grid lines with little cubes and squares. And the idea is that you look at it with each eye, closing one eye and then the other eye, focusing on the central spot in the middle. Now, with a normal eye, with a normal macula, and maybe it's important just to discuss what a macula is. If you take, this is just a model of the eye, this is the front part of the eye, this is the back part of the eye, and the macula is the central area where your high fidelity vision is. So all the light that comes through the pupil focuses on the fovea, which is this little dimple here, which you maybe can't see, but this main area is called the macula. It's the most important part of your eye for vision on the retina. And so issues with the macula cause central vision issues, and probably the most common and well-known is age-related macular degeneration. And one of the symptoms that you will notice is instead of lines being straight, they start to become skew in different orientations. So some people may say burglar guards. In South Africa we've got lots of burglar guards, so burglar guards may be a bit skew. Lines on the roads, door frames may be a little bit skew. Patients may notice that. And the idea behind an Amsler grid is to give a grid that fills most of the macula when you're looking at it. And if you start to see lines curve or change shape or become distorted, it's a way of monitoring. Especially in patients with AMD who we are monitoring, it's often not practical to see that patient every week or every month. It's just not practical for the patient. And so we normally have routine visits where we do retinal scans to look closely at the macular area. But in the interim, it's often good for the patient to have some sort of way of noticing whether there's some deterioration. Often patients don't close one eye, so just the process of closing one eye and the other eye, it forces you to assess that eye. Often one eye can deteriorate, can get much worse, and patients haven't even noticed until they come for their follow-up. And maybe we could have intervened earlier or done something sooner. So the Amsler grid really is just a screening tool to put on your fridge, to put on the mirror at home, etc., and to remind you to close one eye and close the other eye and spend a few seconds looking at it. Now initially, if you have AMD, there may be distortion already. When you look at it, you may already notice there's some distortion. And then it's important just to realize that that's your baseline, or that's the current distortion, and that may not get better. It may change over time. But if you notice it get worse, then it's important to contact your eye doctor, book an appointment so that they can have a good look at you again. And really the main impetus behind this is that there's two forms of AMD, dry AMD and wet AMD, and often when one goes from dry to wet, the vision can deteriorate quickly. And there is interventions that we do for wet AMD, and the Amsler grid just provides us with for a home screening tool to be able to help assess that. There are other conditions such as epiretinal membranes which can cause distortion. That normally happens really slowly over time, and so an Amsler grid can also be helpful for patients to monitor their distortion at home. But there are more sophisticated ways of assessing distortion, for example with D-charts that get done in the rooms that we use to more quantify the distortion in those patients. But the Amsler grid is a very helpful tool. So if you don't have one and you have AMD, ask your eye doctor for one. You can also easily download them online and print them, and that will just help give you some measure to help you monitor any signs of distortion at home, which can alert you to contact your doctor. I hope that was helpful. That's the Amsler grid, and it's a very simple but useful tool that is used very commonly in patients with AMD.